awakened something. Having a kid had awakened something in me that, that you can't explain it to someone else unless it happens to them. Having a kid is a lot like taking LSD.
Oh.
It changes your life, and it's not possible to describe it to someone else in any real fashion.
That's great.
Right?
Yeah. That's really great.
It's like, yeah, you'll have one, and it'll change you.
It'll change you.
Yeah, and so that had changed me, but still, I hadn't connected the dots to where giving is actually a gift to myself, which is what real spirituality and service is. It's not just do it over here and it fixes you over here. It's that doing it from here is what this is all about.
Yeah. So let's move forward a little bit to your only one in the room story. You're a cuckold.
So this is
Yes.
this is ex-wife number 2.
Yes. This is Kelly.
This is Kelly. Yes, it is. Hi, Kelly.
I used to watch her show.
She wrote a book called "If You Have to Cry, Go Outside."
Yes. And other things your mother should have told you or something.
Yeah.
That's like the...
I love Kelly. Kelly introduced me to the Veda.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
She was a devotee of the Mother Mira Alfasa, who was the spiritual partner of Sri Aurobindo. And Sri Aurobindo was the greatest Vedic sage of the 20th century. And there's a place in South India outside of Pondicherry called Auroville, which they founded in the early 70s, where it was supposed to be an international village, some 5,000 acres or something. And Mother Mira was Sri Aurobindo died in 1950, but she had carried on his work. And it was all about, finding unity and oneness and spreading love. And so she had a teacher in Auroville, and I went to India the first time with her on our honeymoon. And it was our marriage was kind of a train wreck.
Why is that?
Because she married me for my potential, and I married her because she wanted to get married.
Oh, yeah.
And I went against my own truth getting married, and it's like we just never. We shouldn't have been married. We weren't a match. And once you go beyond past your own truth, and you do it for someone else's truth, it was like the universe offering me the lesson that I hadn't been able to learn with my mother, which is, you can't do it for someone else. You just can't. And I tried desperately to do that. And it was 2001, and I did a movie in Romania with Casper Van Dien and Greg Henry. And I went from there to India, and I spent, 5 weeks there with the express purpose of figuring out how to leave the relationship or go all in. Because I felt myself teetering, just like constantly questioning. And my friends there, our friends there, Mikhail and Mary, they're spiritual nuts. And Mary Premila is this English woman who's lived there for 40 years and smokes these little beaties and does translation for these big strapping Brahmins and speaks 5 languages. She's amazing. They took me to this temple this Shiva temple in Tiruvannamalai, and it's this huge Shiva temple, and it's very, there's stories about elephants there, and there's a place where the priests do what they do, and that's interesting. And then we're leaving town. They said, "Do you want to see the Kali temple?" Do you know who Kali is? So Kali means black, but Kali is like this.
I have a niece named Kali.
Oh, well, so Kali is the goddess of destruction.
Oh.
But she destroys that which is no longer relevant.
Oh.
So it's
Okay.
it's necessary.
She's selective.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we went to this Kali temple, and there's this Kali, and I look at her, and she's, you know, and they have different forms of Kali. There's the gentle form, and then there's the harsh form. And they had this gentle form here, or the harsh form, but she was a harsh form made out of a gentle form. And then when you're leaving, you come around the corner, and there's the gentle form that's telling you goodbye and blessing you, but they had made a harsh form into a gentle form. And it was like, I saw this life-size statue, and I couldn't move. She was covered in this kumkum, which is that red powder, and there was just one black eye staring out at me. And I literally just stopped in my tracks, and my friends kept going. And out of me came this prayer: please take away that which is no longer relevant. And I just stayed there for a while, and my friends came back and said, what's going on? You know, and like the spell was broken, and we went off. And a couple days later, I called my wife, and I said, are you fucking around on me? We've been together 7.5 years, and that had never occurred to me.
Are you back in the States
No,
now?
I'm still in India.
You're still in India. Okay.
And she said, no, baby. And you had to go to a special calling station to call then. There were no cell phones or anything. No, baby, why would you say that? Are you having fun? And, you know, all that. And, you know, and then I went to, there was at this ashram, there was this guy who had been there since 1952, and he had been a dresser on Broadway. And his house was filled with little statues that he changed their clothes every day. He made clothes for them. And he was like 80 years old at this point, and he was a hoot. And I went to visit him, and we're sitting on his veranda, and he's like putting up with the Westerner who's there. And I'm okay. And he's getting ready to go to bed. He says, do you want to meet her? I went, I'm sorry? He says, I never ask anyone this, but do you want to meet her? And I'm like, yeah. And so we go down the veranda to this other door, and it's got these big old-fashioned locks on it, and you know, he takes these skeleton keys out, and he opens the 2 different locks, and then swings the door open, and there's another life-size Kali sitting there in a throne. And from her, I feel the message, are you sure? And
wait, remind me of the question you asked her the first time.
Please take away that which is no longer relevant.
Okay.
And she says,
And now
are you
she's saying,
sure?
are you sure?
And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then the next day I called, my wife said, you sure you're not fucking around with me? No, baby, when are you coming home? You know, I get home, and, you know, she's been fucking around with me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I find out a week later that she's pregnant with, you know, another man's child. And you know, it was like my house had burned down. And I needed that last bit of the pregnant with another man's child, because like I told you before, if my house had burnt down and the chimney was still standing, even if the fireplace had never worked, I would have built a new house around that fireplace.